Shannon, how concerned should Aaron Rodgers be at this point? How is he doing?
He's ticked. He's very, very upset because, Skip, it seems to me Green Bay is preparing for the future, and Aaron Rodgers says, I'm still on the roster. I'm preparing for right now. Aaron Rodgers is 36 years of age, Skip, but he's coming off a season in which the team went 13-3. He threw for 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and went to the Pro Bowl. They were one game away from being in the Super Bowl. And, Skip, as a quarterback, the quarterback is always thinking, especially when you have a season like what he had and how close they were to ultimately reaching their goal of getting to the Super Bowl and winning, hopefully winning. But to get there, Skip, you can't win if you're not there. He's like, hold on. You got a guy that at the bare minimum, he's 2 years away. I'm talking about at the ideal best you could hope scenario. He's 2 years away. So in the meantime, what do we do? How does he help us now? By running scout team? That's how Aaron Rodgers, that's how quarterbacks think. We need somebody that can help us win. Maybe we need another receiver, Skip, because really, if you think about it, all they got is Devontae Adams. I mean, Geronimo Allison went to Detroit. There's like, maybe we need another wide receiver. What about a tight end? And they're like, nope, we're going quarterback. And they moved up to get him. That's what's going to annoy Aaron Rodgers, Skip. They moved up to get him. And Aaron Rodgers like, probably got him another, Skip, he probably was drinking a little scotch. He's like, yeah, we're going to get us a receiver, maybe an offensive lineman because we did, lose Balaga. Well, we're going to get us a lineman. And then there's been a trade. The 24th pick, the Green Bay Packers select Jordan. He had a glass, Skip. He turned the whole bottle up. He's not happy with this selection, Skip. And he's not happy with the selection. Name the time in the history of the NFL, Skip, a quarterback has been happy when the team selected another quarterback, especially in the first round, because you don't select the guy. Skip, you get a guy in the 7th, 6th, 7th round, 5th round. You're like, okay, yeah, he's a project. We go work with him, and maybe this kid is that. But when you select the guy in the first round, you have ambitions of him playing sooner rather than later. You're not just finna stow him or tuck him away. Oh, yeah, we brought that. We're going to save that for a rainy day. That kid, they got that kid to play, and Aaron Rodgers is not happy. I don't understand the pick because they were close to getting to the Super Bowl, and you got a guy that's not going to help you get to the Super Bowl anytime soon. Aaron Rodgers is ticked. That's not the word I want to use, but he's ticked.
I agree. And I want to remind everybody watching us right now that my man Shannon Sharpe is coming to you live from the wine cellar of his palatial estate, way up the hill from here, up a street called Beverly Glen, up in Bel Air. He's not fresh. He's just the Prince of Bel Air, Shannon Sharpe. But about a mile or so to the west, just a mile or so, is Malibu, California. And somewhere in his beachfront mansion last night, Aaron Rodgers was sitting with his woman, obviously Danica, and he was sipping his scotch, and he choked on his scotch when that pick was made. Because all of a sudden, to your point, Shannon, they didn't just sit still and say, oh, look, Jordan Love fell in our lap. No, they spent a 4th-round pick to trade up from 30 to 26 to swipe him because they said he's falling. And that was as eerily sort of similar as this was to the scenario in which they first drafted Aaron Rodgers to replace Brett Favre. Again, he was falling that year. A lot of people thought he would go number 1, and then Alex Smith went number 1. And as we all remember, Aaron Rodgers had to sit in the green room and sit and sit and sit until he fell to 24. Well, the Packers that year didn't 24. Trade up for him. He just fell right to them at 24, and they're like, well, I guess so. I guess we got to do this. At that point, Brett Favre was going into his age 36 season, as Aaron is, and you know the rest of the story. But it took Aaron 3 years. They rebuilt his delivery from the Jeff Tedford Cal system into what you see today. And it was good for Aaron to sit behind Brett for 3 years. I don't think Brett tried to help him at all. And by the way, I don't think Brett will try to help Jordan Love at all. But Aaron. I do think Aaron Rodgers just got slapped in the face. One of my favorite expressions from the old days of the draft is so-and-so's on the clock. Well, last night, Aaron Rodgers, you're on the clock. Your clock is ticking. After a couple of weeks ago, you talked about how you would like to play into your 40s, a la Tom Brady, a la Drew Brees. Your GM and your coach said, you know what? No, that's not going to happen, because I keep reminding you, Shannon, even though they did make it, obviously, to the NFC Championship game where they stunk it up and got blown out, and Aaron Rodgers was pretty pathetic, his stats have fallen each of the last 4 years. His QBR has gone down, 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 and his completion percentage has fallen down, 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 down. And I think they are looking at that as he is in decline. There's no way he's playing into his 40s. He has too many outside interests. He does love his golf. He'll probably become a media commentator. He's great in interviews. He doesn't seem quite as obsessed with football as Tom Brady has always been. So I think they're thinking, gee, the future could be sooner than later. And they think they made the steal of the first round, taking a Jordan Love, who, again, he was named after Michael Jordan. So he could be Michael Jordan Love. But a lot of people think he could be Patrick Mahomes. I told you, Shannon, I don't know for sure. I didn't watch enough of him because Utah State was not very good last year. He had a sensational year before, 32 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He lost his coach. He lost his coordinator. He lost almost all of his starters on offense going into last year when he threw an FBS high 17 interceptions, 20 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. I've been watching a lot of the highlights. He's got a huge arm. He throws a tight spiral. I like his touch on his deep balls. He has sort of a natural feel as well as the arm strength for throwing the deep ball. He's obviously very athletic at 6'4", 225, and he can run. You know, he ran 4.7. That's pretty good at 6'4", 225. So the package is there. The traits are there. The Mahomes-like traits are there. And to me, 2 years, I think their plan would be 2 years for him to replace Aaron Rodgers. So as you point out, the double slap in the face was, not only have the Packers not ever taken a skill position player in the first round since they took Aaron Rodgers, so he's got no help in the first round, but then last night, when it was time for them to take somebody to help him, they took his heir apparent, as in Air Jordan apparent, and it is, it's got to be a dark day up in Malibu for Aaron Rodgers.
Skip, it is. And the thing is, now, the only thing that maybe might be a saving grace, Skip, is that these players, these rookies come in, especially in the first round, they come in on what we call a rookie deal. And so his rookie deal, I mean, you have the 4 years that he's going to be there, and then you pick up the fourth-year option. And, I mean, I'm looking at it, and Steve ran the numbers, and basically it's about $12.4 million without the fifth-year option. So that's not a whole lot of money. But the difference is, Skip, is that Brett Favre threatened to retire every single year. Skip, you know it was every single year. Brett like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to come back, man. You know, that farm, and I want to cut weeds, and I want to be with my family. And the Packers just got fed up with it. They're like, no, we can't have a guy that one moment, you know, he wants to play, he's enjoying the game, and then the next minute, he's going to retire. And they couldn't have him abruptly retire, actually follow through on what he was saying by retiring and be left holding an empty bag. So there's like, okay, and Aaron Rodgers, like you said, Skip, he fell to them. He fell in their lap at 24. They moved up 4 spots to take this kid. First of all, it's already a slap in my face. You taking the guy that's going to replace me. Here I am. I got 2 MVPs. I thought of as a transcendent quarterback, and you take this guy to replace me. So, and not get me any help. Like I said, Skip, give me a wide receiver, give me a tight end, give me an offensive lineman. We did lose Malaga, so can we get somebody to replace him? You don't want to do that? Nah, we're going to get somebody to replace you. How about that? We're going to get somebody to replace somebody, not the tackle. Yeah, exactly, you. So, Skip, he's up on the PCH or the one-on-one, however he used it from where I am to get there. He's not feeling well. Skip, him and Danica might have went for a walk on the beach last night. He's like, babe, I don't know how much of this bull job I'm going to put up with, because I just want you to know I'm going to go in somebody's office when we do get a chance and say that's some bull jive, and you know it. You know I'm upset. I won't play, but I ain't happy.
Nope. So in the previous Mel Kiper mock draft, the one before yesterday, he had Belichick taking Jordan Love at 23. And I thought, well, maybe. So now we're back to what you always say about Tom Brady, that Belichick was sending a message to the league. I'm done with Tom Brady, and everybody else should be done with him because I'm the GOAT coach. And when the GOAT coach speaks, everybody else should listen. I disagree with that. But the GOAT coach did speak at 23. He could have stayed. He could have taken Jordan Love. Apparently, he's onward and upward with Stid, as he calls him, Jared Stidham, who he took, obviously, in the 4th round 2 years ago. But the point was, Bill Belichick traded out of 23, so he goes back. And the message I got from the quote-unquote GOAT coach was, I don't even need anybody in the 1st round. So what have we seen from Belichick, Shannon? He did next to nothing in free agency, as he lost a parade of players in free agency. And on top of that, he cut Gostkowski, and he traded Duron Harmon for a 5th round pick, a guy who started for him last year, traded him to Detroit. And now it's feeling like Belichick's sending the message, I don't need anybody anybody's even heard of. I'm going to reload on the fly with a bunch of no-name cogs, guys I'm going to take down in 2, 3, 4, 5th round, whatever. He's got multiple picks all the way down through the draft. He's going to take a draft haul, probably mostly of players we've never even thought about or heard of, and say, watch what I can do with people you don't know. So this is the ultimate Belichick saying to the league, watch this. I don't need to take somebody 23 overall. I'll go backwards, and I'll still beat you. Well, we'll see about that. And I'm going to say good luck to Bill Belichick because he said he did not want Jordan Love.
Skip, this move surprised absolutely no one. This is what Coach Belichick does. He would rather move down in the draft and compile picks as opposed to staying put and selecting somebody. Unless it's somebody he's hell-bent on, his heart is really totally into, Coach Belichick is more apt to slide back as opposed to move up or selecting the guy in his slot. Because, Skip, for the most part, they're always selecting somewhere around 28, 29 to 32 anyway, because they always have a deep playoff run. So it's not like they're going to be in the top 20, top 10, top 5 picks anyway. So he's saying that kind of value, I can find that in the 2nd round, Skip. But what I believe why he did that, Skip, remember, he didn't have a 2nd round pick because he gave that up for Mohamed Sanu, which was I said at the time, Skip, I said that was a bonehead move there. There's no way I'm giving up a 2 for Mohamed Sanu. I seen him run. I watched some of the Falcons game. He can't run anymore. That's why the Falcons moved on. No. And you gave up a 2, so Skip, he's trying to replace some of the draft capital that he gave up in order to get some of the players that he have on his roster. So I believe that's one of the reasons why he did that move. I believe he's going to Skip. He's going to try to reinforce, going to try to get the defense even stronger. I'm going to be surprised if that 2nd round pick is not a defensive player unless it's an absolute stud that someone had a 1st round grade on that ended up falling into his lap. Other than that, I can see the scenario where they're going defense again. Maybe a pass rusher, maybe a linebacker. I think that's the direction that they're heading in. But, Skip, Aaron Rodgers is upset with his pick, Skip. He's really upset. Now, I don't know. Hopefully he's learned how Brett Favre Heisman posed him and didn't really give him, take him under his wing. Aaron doesn't strike me as a guy, Skip, that's going to take someone under his wing. He doesn't strike me as a guy that, you welcome to the club. Come on.
Nope.
So, I sure would love to be in Green Bay, Skip, when they finally do get back together. I would love to see Aaron Rodgers. He probably sitting in that seat, them eyes shifting back and forth. Or they might get bigger, Skip. He kind of got a little large eyes. Them thing real big when they made that pick. He like, baby, did you see that? Them no good. Baby, go get me another bottle of scotch.
I hear you. Last quick point about Bill Belichick. I also believe he's on the clock with Robert Kraft because we went over a couple days ago after the Gronk trade when I thought he could have gotten maybe a 2nd for Gronk as opposed to the 4th that they got. and it was really mitigated to a 5th because they had to give up the 7th. And I think that Robert Kraft has an eye on Belichick as the GM as well as the head coach, where he might fire Belichick as the GM and ask him just to be solo coach, because Belichick's history of recent trades, Jimmy G, obviously, there have been the Jacoby Brissett trade. There have been a number of them where it just leaves you scratching your head like, well, what did you do? You just gave these players away. I don't get it. I'm not sure I would have traded back out of 23. I thought he needed to get some star power going. Maybe, maybe he'll prove us wrong, but I don't think he's been a great drafter. He took N'Keal Harry at the bottom of the 1st round last year, and I liked the pick. But then he got hurt, and he wasn't that productive down the stretch. So I don't know. I think Belichick is going to be on the clock with Robert Kraft as a general manager.
Well, Skip, you said some star power. He just let one of the biggest star walk out of the door, and he traded his next biggest star. So clearly he doesn't want star power, Skip. But I don't see a scenario where Mr. Kraft is able to fire the general manager, because I remember Mr. Bolin, rest his soul, is that he says, I want to fire Mike Shanahan, the general manager. But Mike Shanahan, the general manager, is also the head coach. So I had to fire both of them. So I don't see a scenario, Skip Bayless, where he's able to separate those two from each other. If he fires Bill Belichick, the general manager, Bill Belichick, the head coach, is also getting fired. And I don't see that scenario happening.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.